Hello and welcome to Bad Analogies, where we're exploiting every loophole, dodging every obstacle, and penetrating the bureaucracy. Let's get started. I'm Chris West.
I'm Alex Mishwork. Welcome. So today, you had mentioned something earlier about, you had mentioned to me that there's something significant about, at school, just as a preface, we were talking about boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking to students about like setting appropriate boundaries and that kind of thing, and having sort of healthy relationships in your life. And then that sort of led very organically, obviously, to boundaries in sports, out of bounds. And then you said something about baseball, which I kind of get, but you were talking about something unique about baseball as far as boundaries go.
Yeah.
What is it?
So I love sports. I'm probably going to say that every podcast. But
That's fine.
It's awesome. Sports has been a fundamental part of my life. And one thing that I love about baseball that is completely different from any other sport is that there is no out of bounds. Now, there's foul territory and things like that, but
there are foul balls.
There's you can run outside of the runner's path to the base path. Yeah, but you don't step out of bounds. You don't.
For instance, if I'm playing center field, or left field, and if a foul ball is foul, you can still go into foul territory and catch the ball. Yes, you could technically, and for a home run, you could climb. You could climb it.
Yeah,
you could catch it.
There's really no foul territory. Not foul territory. There's no out of bounds.
Okay, got it.
And so then that led us on to a conversation of just the differences between baseball and other sports.
Are there any other, what's another difference in baseball?
There's tons of differences. One of the things that I, again, absolutely love, and what makes it, I think, it's called the American pastime, which I think it's lost a little bit. We'll talk about that. But one of the things is that the best players, have a batting average of over 300, which means that out of 1,000 bats, the average is 30%. 30% of the time they're hitting the ball.
300 means 30%.
300 basically means 30% of the time they are having contact with the ball.
Right.
Which is crazy, right? We would think that you want to be above 50%, and when you go into football and you go into statistics about football, a completion percentage or catch percentage or whatever, a receiver, if a receiver has a catch percentage that's lower than 80%, you don't want that receiver on your team, right? And
so
for a quarterback,
what you're saying is for a professional
to be considered
baseball player, top tier, the best.
Yeah,
you're saying that. Is baseball the only one that we gauge in level of not failing? Because so if we took it grades wise, if you took it a grade,
exactly,
you would want a high passing grade in as for football,
soccer,
you'd want a high receiving. Now, soccer doesn't have high scoring games.
That's true.
So shooting wise, it's probably pretty similar for soccer. Or no,
well, So soccer and hockey, there's definitely more shots on goal or whatever. But that's again, and even basketball, there's a ton of shots on goal, and there's even more points. But the difference between baseball is there is no goal. It's not a goal centered. You have touchdowns in football, you have goals in basketball and soccer and hockey.
But this is just contact with the ball. You're saying. Is it contact or is it base? Is it on base?
So there is another statistics called on base percentage, which includes walks, which is just but even an on base percentage is below 50%. The best all time is Babe Ruth, and his on base percentage is something like 46%.
So baseball differs in. You're saying the baseball differs from
baseball differs in that the best winners are still losers.
So, because if you look at something like basketball, or the best players, and that's probably something that we would need to talk about, because baseball, you look at individual stats. Well, you look at individual stats for everybody in every sport. But and I'm out of my realm of expertise because I don't follow sports at all.
Yeah.
But I do like the significance of something in sports being explained to me in a way that actually you can appreciate it, without having to do all of the legwork of like following everything, every player, at every moment.
Yeah.
But so you're saying that like so it's just the best players in baseball still are they're still in a failing grade,
for
so
sure.
to speak.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you think that says about that says about baseball though? As far as baseball players.
I think it makes it extremely hard. I mean, there's a ball that's coming to you, like a ball that's, not that big. And it's so primitive. It's such a primitive game. Like, let me get this stick and hit this rock, basically. It's a primitive game of, like a backyard game. And we were even talking about that, too.
It totally... when you watch baseball, in my opinion, when you watch baseball, you can totally see a bunch of adults playing by rules that were clearly started by like kids in an alleyway in like New York or something.
Yeah,
where it's like, you've got the little stick, you got the stick, and then it's like there's got to be a limit for how many swings you get. There's got to be a limit for how many tries you get. No, that kid Kevin. He swings, at anything, and it should have to be, within the realm of, so it have to be some boundaries or something. Not boundaries, but there'd have to be some rules as far as batting.
Yeah.
But it just looks totally organically developed. Like,
totally is. Yeah, and we've all been in situations where, well, I think for guys in particular, we've been in situations where we've like created games on the spot, right? And we create rules and stuff.
Things get way too serious, way too fast out of like a paper ball and
yes.
Yeah.
So with baseball, right? There's also no clock, right? So it's not a time limit sport, which is a critique of baseball, but it's also an awesome part of baseball. You're not looking at a clock. You're not looking like for the time to expire. Time doesn't expire. It's finished when the game is finished, right?
Like chess, not like chess. Chess is even time. Like Monopoly.
Yeah, which Monopoly sucks. But
See what I did there? I compared America's pastime to the worst game in the world.
Yeah, that's
what I did.
That's awful. You're a terrible person. No, but like it is. No time limit or sudden death. Like it doesn't matter who gets the ball first. Really, like. There's 9 innings, and if you have the most runs at a certain time, then after a certain amount of innings, then you win.
Yeah.
And then also there's way more. I think there's way more opportunity for like a comeback in baseball than there is in other sports. Just because if you're down by like 5 goals in soccer or hockey, the game's done, right? But if you're down by 5 runs. Because of time.
Of time.
Exactly.
Like you can be ahead. Like you can be ahead in football by there's so much time you need. But like if you have the ball, if you have possession with like I don't know what's the max time you could have possession and just run out the clock for football. I mean like
you can have it for a long time, but like 8 minutes is a very long time.
Yeah. But I mean you can have a lead with 2 minutes and really kind of have a lot of control about.
Right.
Not losing at that lead.
Right. Because
whereas baseball, if there's 2 innings, like
and you're up by 5, that does not guarantee you a win.
Yeah. Anything can happen.
Yeah. And so every single pitch counts. I witnessed I was at a Atlanta Braves game in Atlanta, and the Braves were down 9-1 to the Cincinnati Reds, and they came back and won 10-9 off of a grand slam by Brooks Conrad, who you've never even heard of.
Brooks Conrad.
But yeah, what a baseball name, right? Brooks Conrad.
His first name should be Conrad. His last name should be Brooks. That'd be a way better name. Conrad Brooks is a way better name.
Okay. Anyways, but like he's a no-name basically, and like I will forever remember that just because it was a great comeback. And there is that opportunity in baseball. So the other thing is just you get a ton of chances. So like within a game, each batter gets probably like 4 at bats or so.
Okay.
And so if they do mess up and it is a 33% or 30% chance or whatever, then like one of those times they should get on or they should hit the ball. Yeah, like anyways, it's a great
baseball,
game.
Do you think that baseball is now? So going back to calling it America's pastime.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's something about America, and I mean this more maybe on a more analogical level, but do you think that baseball is America's pastime in a sense that, like, do you think that it's more American in its how do I say this? Mindset, mentality, its sort of energy. Like, do you think so? For instance, like I was thinking, America's pastime. It's funny that we call it that when there's no clock, and that when you go to a baseball game, the culture around baseball is, I feel like it's less fanatical and more leisurely, more laid back.
Yes,
like baseball, you don't get. Well, you know more about this than me. What do you like as far as fans go, and then as far as experience of like watching the game? Do you think that baseball is more culture is different? It has a different culture around it.
It definitely has a different culture around it. Like you don't have face paint, and you don't have like most of the time, right? Like you're absolutely right. Like the oh man, there's different names like in like there's the red zone at the Cardinals Stadium, or like there's the pit in Oakland for the Raiders, right? So that's like all football things, and there's not really that in baseball. So there is definitely a different atmosphere, but I think so. I don't think it's America's pastime now, but
you don't think it's America's pastime anymore?
No. There's definitely been a change in our culture. There's definitely been a change in what we like to consume as Americans.
So then the runner or the competitor would be what?
Competitor right now? Oh, it's absolutely football.
Not just in Texas?
Not just in Texas. There's baseball towns, right? Like I would say St. Louis, even like Philadelphia or even New York, like would be baseball towns. But the nation is infatuated.
Omaha has the college World Series. I know that because I was in Omaha for summer.
But they don't have a professional team. Nebraska doesn't have a professional team.
So, but they love college baseball.
They do, which is weird. Yeah, that is a huge niche. That's a weird niche.
Which is weird.
But so the last thing I'll say about baseball that I think like is super American is it's one-on-one, but it's also a team. So this is a crazy part. The offense does not have control of the ball. The defense has control of the ball. Right?
I hadn't thought about that.
And so it's a one-on-one pitcher versus batter.
That's weird.
But the pitcher has a defense behind him that is trying to make sure that they don't get runs.
And that defense is only... Well, this is not really hot. This is not really that insightful. That the defense... Well, yeah, the defense really only once the offense has been successful, as far as like hitting it, does the defense really go into... You can't have like... They're not doing great defense when like
nothing,
they're not shutting down. You know what I'm saying? Like
they're not stopping.
I guess and that is the weird thing is a pitcher does defense by striking guys out.
Correct.
So like he's doing defense by having offensive control of the ball. Yeah, that is interesting. So like
so the control of the ball is with the defense.
Because in basketball,
control of the ball is the offense. You are on the offensive, right? But anyways, so going back to the American thing though, it is one-on-one, but it's with many, one within many, right?
And America, the analogy there is, I mean, the very American spirit of that is what? Individualism?
Well, individualism within a market, within a
team.
Yeah, within a team, right? Like you can't do it by yourself. You can't. You have to have a team with you, and like anybody you would talk to that has a business or has like anything like that knows that it's not themselves, right? And so
has basketball at all in recent years become anything like that?
So
Like, because now
it's definitely
I'm going off of old information.
Yeah.
But then you could bring me up to date.
Yeah.
But like, I seem to remember like the Spurs had a really good run.
Yep.
People always talked about, and people who would really follow it were to tell me, it's like Spurs are bringing back like team basketball. Like, everyone on the team, there's no one who's like a superstar ish.
Yeah.
And then you have, by contrast, like these teams with like
Super teams.
just superstars.
Correct.
And like they don't have any team dynamics. It's just
correct.
Whoever gets the ball is going to do like a one man show, sort of one man at bat thing.
Yeah. So I don't think that there's ever been like one man show in basketball. Like, it still has to be 3, maybe 2 people
that are good.
Uh-huh. But like definitely 3. I mean, like you talk about the 90s Bulls, it was Michael Jordan, Dennis Rodman, and Scottie Pippen, right? Or like the Golden State Warriors, who have been like they're a team. There's Draymond Green and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Like, those are all like integral parts of a team. But you are right that it is more individual in the sense that it's hinged on how many superstars you have. Baseball, on the other hand, you need pitchers, you need batters. Like, if you have Mike Trout is the greatest baseball player right now. He's on the Angels,
okay,
and they barely make it to the playoffs, if they make it to the playoffs. Because,
and when you say he's the best player, he's like statistically the best player.
Statistically, batting, he is just amazing. And his fielding, he's like center fielder, and he does awesome catches. He steals home runs and stuff like that. But his team around him is not good.
Huh. Yeah, so it's more American because it's more there's moments where it's more just everyone's eyes are on just one person at a time.
Yeah.
But that you still need, in order for that to mean anything, for it to matter, for it to have consequences, you need to have a whole field full of people.
So, yeah, and just going back to the basketball versus baseball analogy, when I was a kid, right, like thinking about the most intense like sports situations, bottom of the 9th, 2 outs out, you're up to bat, and like you're facing whoever pitcher, whatever reliever pitcher. That is more common than 2 seconds left in the 4th quarter, because
2 points to go or something. Yeah,
you're down by 1 and you need like a 3 or 2, or you're down by 2 or whatever. And the reason why it's more common is because any of the 9 batters can be up at that moment. It's not the star shooter. It's not the Kobe. It's not the Michael Jordan. It's not the superstar who, like, in basketball...
it's more based on... Because of baseball, it's rotation.
Correct.
It's not based on time.
Correct.
It's not like we're subbing him now.
Correct.
Now, you can have pinch hitter.
You can't have a pinch hitter, but a pinch hitter normally is statistically worse than your star batters. Right, unless it's a crazy situation where you sub them in and stuff, but like, situational.
No, that makes sense now. So it's more. It is kind of like not roll of the dice, but it is more of like
a strategy. It makes it more of a chess game. Baseball is more of a chess game, I would say, than any of the other sports.
And baseball has football has signs, but baseball has crazy. It's like sign language.
It's nuts. Yeah, sign language and signs and. Craziness. But going back to what we were talking about with the change, there's been a change that's happened.
There has. Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean on the broad, like on America's pastime?
America's pastime. Yeah.
You think now it's football?
Oh, it's definitely football.
Why?
So this is just my.
Is it college?
Opinion.
Is it because people like college football more now, and they're watching, or is it because of?
So let me ask you a question. When it was America's pastime, baseball,
yes,
how was it consumed?
I would say in person on TV.
In person, TV
not on TV. Not really on TV. You're right.
So
not really okay.
So in person,
America showed up,
or even on the radio. I would say, right?
That's true. And it lends itself well to radio, doesn't it?
For sure. Radio commentators are awesome in baseball. Football, they're okay, but like. You'd rather watch football.
Yeah,
you can listen to baseball
because just the way that someone who maybe has memorized the chessboard can listen to, I don't know the letters, but it's like L2 to whatever, and they can say where they moved. A person who knows the board can literally visualize in their mind where
Correct.
everyone is.
Correct.
Now,
whereas with football, like you have a 20-yard line and stuff like that, but
Right.
like it's much easier to watch than it is to listen to football.
Yep. Huh.
So
radio in person.
So TV, I think, has completely changed. And what that means is also advertising and marketing. It's way easier to market and advertise in football because there's so many stoppage of plays. There's so many stops and breaks in the time where you have a lot of time for advertising and for marketing.
So what you're saying is it's not because people like it more.
Not necessarily, no.
So the game lends itself well to marketing.
I am saying that.
So
I am
the
saying
game,
what you just said.
The game lends itself well to more marketing breaks.
Correct.
Okay, for TV.
Yep.
But does the actual sport, is it depicted better? So forget the marketing for a second.
Yep.
Between marketing breaks,
Yep.
do you think that it looks better, it's more enjoyable to watch on screen?
On screen, yes.
Because baseball,
I do think so.
Because baseball is...
it can be seen as boring on screen.
There's not a lot of motion, not a lot of action.
Not a lot of action. Yeah.
And also with baseball, the weird thing about baseball is you normally have... Well, that's the same for all the sports. But like baseball, you'll be sitting there at a game, just like having some nachos, talking to the person you're next to.
Sunflower seeds,
you have a static view, and the field isn't really changing, and then crack. You have like this disruption, and then all of a sudden...
Yep.
The ball moving is really the most attention-grabbing thing. Whereas
football, you're doing defense, or whatever, and you're like you're engaged with the game. I think a little bit more
because for baseball, everyone kind of, if it's your team, you're kind of quiet.
Yep.
You don't really want to like
Correct.
be screaming crazy. I mean, even though the World Series, everyone's screaming crazy.
Yeah.
But like, as far as if you were watching like a college game or high school, you would definitely say, "Everyone, shut your mouth." Because he's about Yeah. So football is more. It looks better on screen, or it plays better on screen. Better advertising.
Yep.
So you're saying that then there's an incentive financially to push programs and markets and people towards watching football.
I mean,
more.
Super Bowl commercials. We were on the way over here, and we were literally talking about Super Bowl commercials. Like, for the business side of America, right? Like, it's become America's pastime,
which is almost now the only side of America.
Yeah, but that's why football is it's more marketable, and like you can have way more commercials with football than you can with baseball.
Yeah, that is, and there's something depressing about that.
It is. It's consumerism.
Like, it's depressing because that means then that it's quite possible that the best thing or the most loved thing is not necessarily organic, but is in being engineered. It's kind of being it has another motive.
One thing that like irks me is when somebody says that they think baseball is boring.
Huh.
Because if you understood, if you like knew every pitch, like the crazy, you were talking about the signs. There's so much. Again, it's a chess game, and you can sit back, but like that's one of the great things about it is that you can be leisurely.
You know what's really amazing, and what it takes though is you can understand it, but also if you're able to communicate. So one of the baseball coach, at the school that we teach at, he played in like the minor leagues, a certain level, and I watched the World Series with him this past last year.
Oh, cool.
And he just casually, he wasn't really even trying to like point out a lot of stuff. He just said, they're probably going to do this because this and this, or the smallest baseball players, I think at that level or playing professionally,
Yeah.
they're just aware of so many different probabilities of like what the other team has to do or what, like there are a lot of forces and a lot of like inevitabilities, and there's also kind of like a lot of variables that when you're sitting there explaining, you're like, between plays, the people in the dugout are thinking about tons of different things.
Yep.
And when you look at them, they're just spitting sunflower seeds. Or, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or just like, so when you're, to have somebody, to be sitting and watching a slow game with somebody who has that level of detailed knowledge of like from the dugout to the locker room to like the call to the bullpen and what all the factors involved. It's like that he's going to pull this guy because he's got one pitch or whatever that's really good. Yeah. And he knows. So anyways, it's just one of those things. It's a lot like we were saying with like wine or coffee. It's like you can enjoy it a lot more if you know enough to not just be bored by it. Like if you know, if you have enough information. So So football is.
I mean, I love football
it's good,
too.
But you're saying that it's good for short attention spans.
Definitely,
it's better for short attention spans.
It's instant gratification. Every play is basically instant gratification, and you only have 4 plays. Then the other team gets the ball. If you don't make 10 yards,
if you don't make something awesome happen,
10 yards is not that far. Yeah. But it is a game of inches. I love football and everything like that. This was just
our 100,000 listeners are all going to turn on you overnight. We're going to lose all of our sponsorship deals.
Analogies
hates football. And here I am over here being like, dude, it's fine. You can say you hate football. So. Yes, that's pretty interesting. I think that the marketing element too is so true. Like people, what do people say when they go to a Super Bowl party? Is they don't. If there's no one, it's not a team that you're rooting for. You're just like, I just hope the commercials are good. I just hope that the commercials are fun.
Yeah, and that gets the ladies in.
The commercials?
Oh yeah.
You talking about the clandestine? I mean the Clydesdale.
The Clydesdales. Yes.
Clydesdale.
Yeah.
The Clydesdale Budweiser commercials.
Yeah.
The lab puppies.
Yep.
I'm a sucker for the Clydesdales. Dude, those horses are majestic.
With the Dalmatian.
Yeah, there was a year. I told you about this earlier. There's a year where like commercials were funny. I don't know, when it was, but the commercials were really funny. They were really good. And then out of the blue, Budweiser played this like 1 minute long or 2 minute long narrative, no words, just like this whole story of like in the season, out of season. This horse grows up and the puppy knows each other, whatever. And it was in the end, it didn't end it with like a joke or with like a bit or with like it was just like Budweiser, and you're like, what are they doing? Here I am, like, waiting for a good Doritos commercial, and I'm like, they're toying with my heart.
Yeah.
Anyways, you said to get the ladies in. I mean, that commercial
got you in.
I was just kind of like, look, I'm not ready to make an emotional investment between plays here. You know what I mean? And I have to detach from this horse and this puppy by the time the commercials are over. This is tough stuff. Mm-hmm. But I mean, there's a lot of money in commercials.
There is.
Well, so baseball, it's an American pastime. It's probably the rightful heir to the title, but it's being subverted by the juggernaut of instant gratification and short attention spans of football. And football itself is being exploited by commercial interests in order to feed off of the collective attention problem of American consumers.
Yeah. Yeah, the bureaucracy of like consumerism and
so what you're saying is so that baseball essentially baseball, we could say, if we made a bad analogy, the baseball represents almost the death of like what happens when we lose our attention spans and we're unable to appreciate maybe the subtleties and nuances of the simple life.
Yes.
And now we need constant Marvel movies. We need explosions in every scene. Every 4 downs, we need something new and exciting to happen. Every 10 yards, something better happen, or else we're going to just, we're going to move to the next thing. Mm-hmm. And so basically the move from football to baseball is essentially the move from the pure appreciation of the thing itself to the use of the thing as a vehicle for other means or other goals or other intentions to feed off of American bank accounts.
And that, my friend, is a bad analogy.
I think it's a pretty darn good analogy.
It is. Yeah.
Cool. Well, anyways, we'll end it there. We'll see you guys next time on Bad Analogies. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.